And it's a beautiful Friday morning right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning, good evening, wherever in the world you're watching from. It's Business Morning live from Channels HQs. Great to have you join us. Definitely an eventful week with all the rate hikes and market volatilities in the oil markets and equities markets as well. But let's start off with the oil market. Now, we see oil prices extended losses today on worries about a potential oversupply after U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm said refilling the country's strategic petroleum reserve may take several years. Brent crude, that fell about 24 cents to $75.67 a barrel, while U.S. WTI crude futures slipped 24 cents, same range there, 0.34% down at $69.72 a barrel, losing that $70 mark, and that's for WTI. Both benchmarks fell about 1% yesterday, and we're still on track for a weekly gain of about 3 to 4%, recovering from the biggest weekly declines in months last week due to the banking sector crisis and worries about a possible recession. And a more than 1% decline in the dollar, that's the US dollar in the past week, which makes commodities priced in the greenback cheaper for holders of other currencies. That capped downside price pressures. Looking out for what happens next week in the oil market. For the global grain market, now we see corn edge higher, buoyed by another flash sale to China, while soybeans that dipped and continued pressure from Brazil's ongoing. We see wheat futures is losing ground from gains earlier in the day. Corn extended gains to a 3-week high as a run of export sales to China countered spillover pressures from wheat slide this week. China has purchased more than 2.5 million tons of corn since March 14th, likely driven by a shipping window before Brazil's safrinha crop and concerns about a shorter 60-day extension of the Black Sea grains corridor. The most active corn contract on the Chicago Board of Trade, CV1, that was up by 0.2% to $6.34 for 3/4 of a bushel after hitting its highest since February 28th, earlier in the session. And Nigerians with plans to own luxury cars have been asked to take advantage of the GAC Motors partnership with Union Bank to deliver cars that can be paid for over 5 years. During an MOU signing ceremony in Lagos, the management of both companies explained that the scheme is for all GAC vehicles, which are to be delivered at almost zero interest rate for all Union Bank customers anywhere in the country. Take a listen.
Since its penetration into Nigeria's automobile industry in 2014, GSM Motors has continued to own its voice in the environment in spite of the competition there. And in demonstration of its determination to get their product into more hands, it's forming an alliance with Union Bank, which prides itself as a simpler, smarter bank.
Photo, please come back.
We believe we are able to supply a really affordable price to Nigerian consumer. At the same time, we are expanding our national service and also sales office. We call 3S Shop to meet all the end user to easily to access the car facility.
The partnership is to ensure ease of purchase of all classes of vehicles by GSM Motors through an easy payment method.
In certain conditions, the interest rates go as low as 0%. We have put the terms and conditions and the services that is provided to the to this campaign is, I think, it beats all previous products.
In addition to other features, the vehicles are eco-friendly.
When you drive on the Nigerian road, no matter the peculiarity of the road, the car still drives smooth and comfortable. So that's one of the most important features of this vehicle. Another feature about it is the technology. So most of the new versions of the GAC cars are with Euro 6 engine, and Euro 6 engine saves carbon. right? So when we have emission, the emission that is being transmitted from the car to the environment is very low.
The customer presents a pro forma invoice for the choice of the GAC brand of vehicle that they are interested in, and then they fund their account to the equity contribution. The loan is disbursed, GAC is paid, and then the monthly deductions begin as the customer drives home with the vehicle or is delivered to the destination.
GSM Motor prides itself as combining quality and innovation, while Union Bank parades a bragging right of being Nigeria's most reliable and trusted banking partner with over 106 years. These credentials are what both institutions promise to leverage on to deliver new cars to customers across country.
By GAC Motors, and definitely buying a car now is so expensive with the Naira, their volatility, making cars really expensive at this point. So it'd be great to take advantage of such platforms. Now let's get on with our first conversation now. We're talking cybersecurity, as smishing attacks have been growing in recent years. I'm sure you've heard of phishing. So now there's smishing, which is SMS part of that. So we've seen about 8.7% of individuals and corporate users affected by phishing attacks on their devices, and 7% of Nigerian computer users fell for phishing attacks in 2022. To help us understand these terms like phishing and smishing, we have Shola Adekoye, now founder Open Innovation Access, join us via Zoom. Great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thanks for having me.
So quite interesting words, terms, what shall I call it there, phishing, vishing, and all under cyber attacks. And it's getting quite, rampant these days. Help us understand, why and, all these terms.
Yeah, sure. So smishing is a term coined from phishing. So phishing is what everyone or many people may already be familiar with, which is just when a malicious attack is launched on someone's computer via email, and usually through a link, and someone clicks on the link, and then the attacker takes over their digital life. Smishing, with the increase in the use of mobile technology in Nigeria and in Africa, 85% of all phishing attacks are now done via SMS, because the attackers have also gotten smarter. They've also realized that, well, people are launching a lot of antivirus on their computers, so antivirus can alert them. People are now a lot smarter in they've made lifestyle changes, but not many people are aware of attacks launched through SMS. So which may lower the barrier of protection there. So they launch the attacks via SMS by sending maybe a link to your phone, and it's often disguised, obviously. So it might be disguised as your bank, and as you see that, one might think, well, SMS, non-threatening, and you click on the link, and then it launches the same attacks with the same potency as phishing attack via email. But it's growing because 85% of all attacks now, phishing attacks, are done via SMS because of the increase in mobile technology use in Nigeria and also in Africa.
So definitely, I've become, very sensitive, about clicking, links, that from people that I do not know. So is there a risk of, if I get a link from, somebody that I know, is there some kind of risk also, with that? Is it just from unknown people that you have the risk, or do you have risk from also known people on your contacts?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you're a very smart person, obviously, and you've taken some measures to protect yourself. But just imagine if that same text were disguised as your bank, and you're busy, or you don't have the time, or just don't even have the awareness about disguising, this sort of attacks. So the text comes through your phone. You see that it's from your bank. It's non-threatening. Obviously, you see that you know your bank, so you click on it. But it's disguised to take you to a different server where the attack might be launched. So the level of disguise is also increased. So it's not just from who you know or who you don't know. It's just being careful in general about links or SMSs or messages that we receive. So a little bit of lifestyle change there, and a little bit of more care has to be taken to protect one altogether. Really.
Right. All right. What is the current state of our infrastructure in Nigeria today? How exposed are we?
Very exposed, actually. I first want to commend the federal government, obviously, for the cybersecurity policy and strategy. Nigeria is one of the handful of countries that have implemented this. But even with that, there's still a lot of exposure. Think about policies at the federal government level. How does that translate at the individual level? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for you at the individual level? I'm a guy just walking down the street. I know nothing about, these policies. I know nothing about, phishing attacks. A link just comes through and I just click on it. So the level of exposure is still very, very, very high because the awareness is still very low. Not many people are aware. If you think about this, you can imagine every single year, Africa loses about $4 billion. I mean, to put that in real perspective, that's about 1% of Nigeria's GDP that's lost through these attacks. If we had adequate infrastructure, I mean, it might reduce that. It might not reduce that because even the most advanced countries are exposed. So it's just that our level of exposure is even higher because it's never been a problem for us. It's growing now because of the increase in e-commerce use, online transaction processing, increase in mobile technology. So the more we get on the internet, the more exposed we get. And obviously, recently you see how with the situation that happened in Nigeria, with everyone logging into their banking transaction to do banking transactions or financial transactions, it even increases exposure. And I was just, if you look at the election, the presidential election that just occurred in February as well, within 4 days, within about 4 days, about 12 million attacks. Luckily, not successful. But just imagine 12 million attacks in just the space of 4 days. On election day, 7 million attacks. So it's growing. The level of infrastructure obviously is not there. You can imagine the more we have startups as well, the more exposed we are, because obviously startups are going to also run their platforms on the internet. But the thing is, startups obviously still have firewalls and they can protect, but nothing is 100%. Risk-free, or it's not risk-proof. The attacks can still come through. Attacks can still get through. So level of infrastructure is still very low. We could do a lot more, but we're often, definitely on the right path, making the right strides.
I can imagine how some people feel, paranoid, interacting with all of these services on the internet. And I do remember, some time back, and even, currently you see on social media, people, complaining about their accounts being exploited. Top banks, you hear that, money's been pulled out of their account. How much of this is because of these kind of smishing attacks? And paint a picture of the impact of successful attacks.
So you really can detect, because one of the things that we've seen in Africa and also Nigeria is that the level, the attitude is a little different. The level of care is not as great as you would want it to be. Not every attack is reported. First of all, about 96% of all attacks are not even reported. So it's what you hear that but certainly there are many, there's several different ways or means by which an attacker can attack one person. Smishing, phishing, and ransomware or malware are just some of the major ones. They're some of the major ones because they are the ones that have direct interaction with probably the users. So with those, attackers are able to launch attack even more easily. So I would say that any attack that happens, unless it's reported, it would, and it's most likely, as a result of one of these different means. I would say probably one of through either smishing or phishing or malware or ransomware. But smishing can be just to paint a picture for you. So maybe someone takes a mobile phone or maybe even an employee of a bank or something takes a mobile phone. I don't mean to paint a bad picture, but I just want to paint some picture. So you take a mobile phone or you're doing banking transactions on your phone or you're doing some transaction, an attacker launches an attack. The attack doesn't go directly, maybe out of carelessness, the employee clicks on a link, then the mobile device or even the computer starts to slow down because the attacker loads it up with all kinds of software to slow the processing down. Now they send for the administrator of the bank or whatever organization comes and logs in to try to help them out. As you log in, as you log in with your administrative password, that automatically launches that attack to the entire organization. So you can see that from organizations that have even reported in Nigeria recently. It could happen so easily. It's not just a software measure that we have to take. It's also a lifestyle change. That is why we're introducing this SMS Protect, because you have to make significant lifestyle changes. It involves not even sharing your password, and people say that people should even go to the extent of not even sharing their passwords with their spouses. Well, that's even on a personal level, but the attack can go to any extent, and it can be attributed to any one of these three major ones that I've mentioned to you.
Scary there, but I'm wondering, how do I protect myself from these attacks?
Well, I mean, you could either make such a significant lifestyle change, or you could just download SMS Protect. SMS Protect is this mobile application that we're launching next week, which is a significant stride in helping to protect Nigerians. And we're also making inroads into Kenya as well to protect Nigerians. Pretty much what SMS Protect is it's a NI-enabled mobile app that tracks all your incoming SMSs without being intrusive and without prying into your privacy. It goes to the source of the SMS, tracks it down, checks it for authenticity, and when it's a bad SMS, it alerts you before you even click. It's designed to process so fast. That's why it doesn't spend time reading your messages. It just goes right to the source. As soon as an SMS comes to your phone, it sees it immediately, it reads it, it reads it from the source, and it tells you right away. Now, the choice is yours to still go ahead and click it or just delete it right away. But at least it's a step in the right direction. When you're alerted, at least you have some form of warning. It's some form of warning. Or you can make significant lifestyle changes by not even sharing your password with your spouses, which could even cause a whole different problem on its own. So SMS Protect is a mobile app that you can download from the Play Store starting next week. I want to say starting next week, Wednesday. And you can download that. It goes on your phone. It's not invasive. It's not intrusive. It just sits in the background and monitors your mobile phone and all your incoming SMSs. The way to think about SMS Protect will be you have a gate man that's our gatekeeper at your house. Doesn't know what's going on inside your house, but it's at the door to keep bad guys out and let good guys in. So that's what SMS Protect does.
I'm just imagining, trying to explain to my wife that I'm sorry, I can't give you my password because I don't want them to, the bad guys to get it from you. Yeah, that might cause a little friction.
That might go well. I don't know. I didn't want to imagine that telling my wife that, well, I'm sorry, I really can't share my password with you anymore because the
bad guys are out there. Yeah, but I guess SMS Protect can take care of that. But what's the cost for the application? Because I know when I check on the app stores, Apple, there's a cost to getting some of these applications. Is it free to get SMS Protect?
So for now, because of the urgency, the level of urgency, we're releasing the free version for now. And then over the next 6 months, we will be releasing other added layer of protection that will be, paid versions or paid features within the app. But for now, it's just a free version, which is very, which is optimized to protect you to a great extent, And over the next 6 months, obviously, we'll be launching other features. And one feature that I quickly mentioned too, we don't want to forget children as well, because there's a lot of cyberbullying, a lot of inappropriate content out there. So over the next 6 months, we'll be partnering with another startup with another company called Parenting, and we'll be introducing the cyber security for children within the SMS Protect app. And the way it works is that it protects the children from any form of cyberbullying or being exposed to inappropriate content. Because the answer is not protecting your children or preventing them from going on the internet. You'll be holding them back from this world. Everything, all the learning and development is done online. So don't hold them back from going online. Or the answer is also not discipline them excessively, because it might even push a child to start being secretive about what they do. So SMS Protect over the next 6 months will be introducing that as a feature as well. But there are many other features I will be introducing over the next 6 months to continue to add protection. And then the AI within the app as well continues to learn by itself and continues to learn new patterns, new ways that these people launch attacks, and continues to protect you. So it only gets better from here.
And I know, a lot of people like to, save data sometimes. They turn off their data so it doesn't get, sucked out while they're not using it. So does the app require internet all the time?
Yes, you need internet. You need SMS Protect to protect you on the internet. So it needs internet to be able to protect you on the internet. It runs when your internet is running. So the app will run regardless of your phone. It's just that when incoming SMSs come, for the app to be able to alert you, obviously you need to have your data turned on. So, because that's the way it will protect you, because the embedded link will have to take you to the internet anyway, the embedded link within your SMS. So if an SMS just comes and says, please log in, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't even launch an attack. But when it has an embedded link that now takes you on the internet, that's when SMS Protect will have to get on the internet to protect you. But other than that, it just sits on your phone, doesn't take too much space, doesn't even use your data. But it's when you have to get on the internet either way that it now gets on the internet with you to try to protect you.
Fantastic. Quite a lot of protection, needed these days. How do we contact you, to get the SMS Protect?
Yeah, so the SMS Protect starting next week, Wednesday, you can download from the Google Play Store. We're launching just the Android version for now. The contact info is also shared on the screen right there. You can email us at contact@smsprotect.io. You can find us on LinkedIn, on social media handles as well, smsprotect.io. Those are just some ways that you can contact us. But we do check emails very, 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 often. So if any messages come through, if you run into any issue, being able to download the app, just reach out to one of our guys. There'll be guys on standby just waiting to just support in any way. But it should be able to reach us through any one of these means here.
All right, I guess we'll leave it there now. Thank you so much, Shola Adekonye, founder, Open Innovation Access. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're talking cybersecurity protection there. So still ahead on Business Morning, we'll be looking at financial literacy for kids and young people as the world celebrates Global Money Week. That's in a moment. Just stay with us. Welcome back. So Global Money Week is an annual global awareness raising campaign on the importance of ensuring that young people from an early age are financially aware. Let's talk to Abubakar Albasu, now Head of Advocacy, Consumer Protection at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Great to have you. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
So a lot is happening, right now in the world with rising inflation. We're seeing market crashes, bank collapse in the U.S., fear of contagion, and a tough time for investors globally. What is the significance of, Global Money Week at this time? I see the theme is plan your money, plant your future.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like you said, it is targeted at children and young people. The catchword, the watchword is catch them young. If we teach people how to become financially literate, how to better manage their personal resources, perhaps they will not only be able to take care of their own financial future, but also become better financial managers, and at the end of the day, better for the economy. So when they find themselves in positions of authority, when they become captains of industry, when they become managers of the financial system, they would naturally be better financial managers, and some of the decisions they would be taking will probably enhance the financial system, and at the end of the day, promote economic development and help to deal with some of these issues you just mentioned.
I know you've been dealing with this for a while now, but do you think kids and younger people are keen, on learning these financial tips, at a young age? I know most of them are usually distracted, either with social media, and other things, that kids do.
So what we try to do is to move with the times. So we engage them using what they like most, using fun activities, using social media that keeps them busy. And so if you look at this year's Global Money Week, a lot of activities took place that are really exciting. And it's no more that system of just putting students in classrooms and teaching them, that boring stuff. But then a lot of activities take place. The CBN is on social media, and our collaborators all over also on social media. So we take advantage of the times, using social media to reach out to the children and young persons.
And I'm sure, I know that you guys have been engaging with the kids all through this week. Any interesting stories, from your encounters, with the children?
Yes, I wish I had the videos to show you, because we did some videos, and we could see the excitement. We could even see how we engaged them. We had a quiz competition in Lagos, for instance, and we could see that enthusiasm. What is really impressive, what is really gladdening is the fact that they respond very well to questions, and it is easy to teach the generation of these days financial literacy, unlike my generation.
Yeah, definitely unlike your generation. But what is the plan to, help children get financially literate, in Nigeria? Anything in the pipeline, maybe to include financial education in schools and their curriculum?
Thank you for that. We've actually reached advanced stages with financial literacy, financial education curriculum. I'm on that project, and I can tell you now that the financial education curriculum has been developed. It's been infused into career subjects. We've been working with a lot of stakeholders, with the Federal Ministry of Education and the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council leading this project. And very soon now, once we are done, the students in schools, at least from primary 1 to SS3, will have a field where they will be learning about financial education without even knowing, because they are not standalone. It's not a standalone curriculum. It's been infused into career subjects. Some of them compulsory career subjects, like English language, for instance. There's financial literacy going forward. So what we did not really benefit when we were students, our children and younger ones will actually get.
Yeah, I definitely wished I knew about investing and all these things when I was much younger. Exactly. I can imagine how much I would have amassed by now. But with pressure on global banking industry, from Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, their fears, depositors won't have access to their funds at some point, when these banks get quite irresponsible, with the funds. So we're trying to teach kids here how to save, for the future. We also have the issue of inflation. We've been fighting inflation since 2022. So as a kid now, you're saving all that money, but in the future, inflation steals it from you. How do you balance all of this?
So we teach them about savings, and not only savings, but investing. So it is starting from saving. You save your money up to a certain stage, and then you invest, so that when you grow, when inflation is biting, you know that your money is not just the same 100 naira or 1,000 naira that you had 20 years ago or 10 years ago, it is the same money. You know it will be valueless now. But then investment will help to move the money forward. And then we also encourage people to ensure that before you open accounts, check and ensure that that institution is licensed. So there are a lot of quack financial service providers who may not even be licensed. So it's important that people check if it's a bank or a microfinance bank, check to ensure that it is licensed by the CBN. If it's a stockbroker, someone operating the capital market, check and see that they are also licensed by the relevant authorities, Securities and Exchange Commission, and so on. That's very key.
What's the best, way for parents now if you're trying to choose some kind of, banking product for your kids? What's the best way to go about it?
So engage the institution, ask them, find out from them what products do they have for young persons, because a lot of banks and other financial institutions have products that are targeted at the young persons. And so, the target is actually about savings. So you find out, engage the institutions, try to do some window shopping, find out from 1, 2, 3 banks, and then whichever one is appealing to you, you can take it.
And what's your advice to, parents out there, trying to save for their kids or might be too distracted, to actually, save for their kids' future? What packages are there for, parents themselves at this time?
So the advice for me, it is very important that we learn to save for our children. It is important that we open accounts for our children. It's important that we even buy stocks, buy shares for them, so that when they grow, they will have some kind of money to start up with. Of course, when you open accounts for your children, because they are minors, they cannot operate the accounts. And so it is only you, the parents, that can operate the accounts. But then the essence is savings. Open the accounts for them, save for them. Like I said, approach any financial institution close to you and find out what child-friendly products they have.
And we've had a lot of Global Money Week celebrated in the past years. Any data showing how much, children and young people have been impacted so far, with this yearly celebration?
So because it is a collaborative effort amongst the CBN, the other financial regulators, players in the ecosystem generally. We even have a lot of development partners, non-governmental organizations, even other public sector agencies that have been working with us on this. So the numbers are really high, but then I can give you an example. Right now we are still in the week, so the figures for this Global Money Week for this year, the figures are not out yet. But for instance now, the Bankers Committee did engage over 18,000 girls across the country, over 21,000 boys, and then total over 39,000 students across the country. They went to over 350 schools just last year, 2022. Some schools they went virtually, and some it was physical. For the CBN, this week, we actually engaged over 600 students across the country. We went to 8 locations. We tried to go to each geopolitical zone, Lagos and Abuja, and we engaged students this week. The figures are not out, like I said, but I know that at the end of the day, we would have engaged more than 1,000 students just at the CBN. Imagine now what other agencies are doing.
I guess
this happens every year.
Every year, I guess we'll have to keep that wheel spinning to get the kids financially literate, before they get to our age. Thank you so much, Mr. Abubakar Albasu, Head of Advocacy, Consumer Protection, Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, and talking about teaching kids investing at an early age, we have John Mekwana with the markets right here. Sometimes I see myself wishing that maybe when I was a teenager, I had some kind of investment, saying all these big, massive companies we have these days, that their stocks were next to nothing, or when Bitcoin was less than $1. I think I was in my 20s that time, and I keep wishing,
well, Ladi,
why didn't I buy?
One way to correct that is, what are you doing with your children at this time?
Yeah, even though they're so busy with Roblox and all of that.
Yeah, because you were also busy. Maybe you
Yeah.
were busy with bicycles at that time.
Yeah, even though I don't know how to ride a bicycle. But
or swimming.
I don't know how to swim.
You know, so I mean, we have children in our lives, so it's never too early to show them how to, you know, get into the money world, what they should do money. And I guess that will also help them to appreciate the spending.
Yeah.
You know, so demands, my parents might actually enjoy less demands.
Exactly.
Because, you know, children would know the value of making
how hard it is getting that money.
Exactly. And but there has also has to be a balance to it, because you don't want to get children too engrossed in money that they forget to get their basic education, which should be their primary assignment, and, you know, at the early stage of their life. So it's good to have a balance, but obviously it's also good to get the children to know about money, how money is made, and, you know, some of those education around cryptocurrency and things like that. I guess it also makes their brain wake up faster or earlier than yours.
And the advantage.
Ladi, by the time your children are your age, they should be billionaires in dollars.
Exactly, yeah. What I missed out on, they get it. And, you know, they have that advantage of, you know, being young, so you can take as much risk as you want, unlike older people.
And they have you to also be their buffer while they're taking the risk.
Taking all that risk. Incredible.
All right, good morning. This is the market segment. Ladi got me there, you know, with the Global Money Week. But let's go to the market. Yesterday was not a very good one. And what has also happened is that the month to date returns in the market is now in the negative, about 1.6% negative. But thankfully, year to date is still in the positive, about 7%, and we hope we do not lose that. So once again, we saw the banking sector, late profit-taking activities in the banking sector. Access score, to be precise, bringing the market down more than 2%, down 2.3%. That's what we saw off access score, and that's why the all-share index ended in the red, still 54,000, but, you know, lost 0.02%. The equity cap, 29.92 trillion naira. And looking at the activity chart, we see that there was a decline, about 12% decline for volume there, to 117.85, value 1.4, and deals, how many times do you see deals at just about 2,000? Well, that's what we're seeing, between 3,000 and 2,000, while a num is about 5,000, 6,000. Hope to get there, but I guess the most important one is the value there. And for the sectors, of course, when we saw that drop in access score, we couldn't expect that the sectors would be down. So banking was down yesterday, 0.5%. Insurance also down 0.4%. That's not really strong enough, you know, to determine the sentiments in the market. Oil and gas, industrial goods, and all of them were flat. So banking basically dropped the market yesterday. Now, we have Abdulrasheed Momo now to tell us maybe the backstory of what's going on with the banking sector. We thought that the Silicon Valley Bank sentiment was gone and we were moving on. At least Credit Suisse did have that rescue. And so we thought we were out of the woods, but I hope that's not what we're seeing. Good morning, Abdulrasheed Momo. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So we saw a recovery in the banking sector for like 2 days. Now we see banking leading the market into the red again. Is this another round of decline, or is it just a phase, transitory, as we like to use the word?
Oh, okay. They're always saying that the market moves in stages. We have when the market is bullish, and we have when the market is bearish, and we have when the market is actually stalling. If you note, one thing we've noticed that the financials of these banks ought to have hit the market. It's been long overdue, you know. So investors' appetite towards not seeing those financials now might be causing a little scare. Like yesterday, the exchange actually brought out. There was a headline for GTCO yesterday, and people were so excited. But by the time that we opened the information, it was not actually financial. It was just a message to the exchange. So basically what's happening now is that what's keeping people now is in terms of dividend payout. You know, let's put that we only have different types of players, and the investors and the traders. The traders actually love to invest when the market is rallying. But for now, the market is stalling. That's why we're seeing all these low volumes traded so far. And the truth is that in terms of TA, when market stalls for a long time, if market is range bound for a long time, we expect to see a breakout either to the upside or the downside. I pray it actually comes to the positive side. The market is going to take some correction towards the downside, but I still see more uptrend in the long term.
So it would be safe to say that that negative sentiment on the banking counter coming from the global space, have we gone past that? Can we safely say that?
Yeah, but if you are, I think there was an interview I had. Apart from, I know some banks were actually affected by the Ghana Eurobond. You know, I can't call names, but I know a lot of them were affected. About 3 or 4 of them were fully affected. That might be playing another role in what we are seeing. But if you compare it to the Silicon Valley, and I think our market now, if you look at the percentage in terms of foreign investment and local, I think the local is actually more than the foreign. If it was before, when our market was dominated by more foreign investors, would have seen a drop across the board, a huge drop within the banking sector. But now you can see that most of the, I think it's the pension funds actually more into the market now. And I wouldn't see them actually, because of information on Silicon Valley, selling off their shares anyhow. You know, one time I do speak pension for that, most of these banks are dividend-paying stocks, and they actually, and these are their year-end. You can see Stanbic paid about 2 naira, which was very good. I think last year they paid about 150. So there was actually increase in what they are paying. So I think what's just waiting that information is key, and market really needs that information before we know the next line of trend, whether it's going to be up or down.
All right, Mr. Momo.
Financials.
You just speak by interest when you mentioned the Ghana bond there. I do know there are some Nigerian banks operating there. How exposed, I mean, from information that you have, I know you may not have, the full information. How exposed are Nigerian banks to that Ghana Eurobond? Because, I mean, it's a problem. They're talking about restructuring now, and they've not been able to agree on that.
Oh, these are kind of information that it might break the market, depending on what you are buying. I know some banks actually exposed. You just mentioned one dropping. I think that one too is highly exposed to the Ghana Eurobond because they can't pay. They can't pay. There's no dollar to pay, so it's actually affecting their overall float. Wow. So, but I know. For Stanbic to have actually paid 2 naira, I expect GT and Zenith UBA to actually do well. If you notice lately, they've been volumes in UBA lately. So then Zenith, there's been some downtrends and uptrends. I think there might be something interesting that will come out at the end of the day. I know they are likely not going to pay less than what they did last year. Even though they maintain, I doubt if they will pay less because I always tell people, follow the smart money. They are the owners, so they always pay themselves well.
All right, Mr. Abdul-Rashid Momo, stockbroker with LW Stockbrokers. I will follow the flat money, the smart money. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye. Cheers.
All right, yeah. Well, I think Ladi is ready to take over. Ladi, but I did not really think about the exposure of Nigerian banks to that Eurobond, Ghana Eurobond issue. Because we've been talking about the pensioners in Ghana. You don't really connect the dots until you start seeing the impacts. And I mean, I pray they can handle it.
Talk about being a global village. That's why at the end of the day, we see what's happening in the U.S. Everyone's worried about the risk of contagion.
Yeah. Or something happening in Switzerland, and then the UK and Nigeria are looking for how to handle the impact.
At this point. But, well, TGIF, let's see how the market performs today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was Inide giving us the details from the NGX and fixed income market. Now, let's head on to the UK. We have Juliana standing by right there. Great to have you, Juliana. So the Bank of England, they've raised their interest rates by a quarter of a percentage point, about 4.25%. What's the reaction in the UK to this latest hike, even though expected?
Good morning, Ladi. Yeah, pretty much expected. But if we just look at the global economic picture at the moment, this time last week, it kind of wasn't expected. I think economists had seen what was happening following the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and then the forced sale of Credit Suisse to the buyer. There were suggestions that perhaps central bankers would not lift interest rates to not fuel a further banking turmoil. But then we got that surprise data, didn't we, from the Office for National Statistics. Despite the positive sentiment we got from the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt last week, inflation, double-digit inflation in the UK isn't going anywhere. In fact, it jumped from 10.1 to 10.4%. That sent shockwaves through the markets and piled the pressure on the Monetary Policy Committee, and they moved to the pressure. So we got that 0.25% hike. It wasn't unanimous. I think two of the central bankers decided that perhaps it shouldn't be lifted because, of course, it raises the cost of borrowing in this country. And we know that mortgage owners are already suffering. I've got to tell you, you know, we laugh about the Kwasi-Kwarteng and the Liz Truss mini budget, but it did actually really cripple the savings and the payments for mortgage holders every single month. So that's been an issue, and that's also fueling inflation. One of the takeaways from Andrew Bailey's response yesterday after the announcement is that he does agree with the Chancellor and the Office for Budget Responsibility that the UK may avoid a recession this year. In fact, he does say that there could be growth in the second quarter of 0.4%. But as I've said a couple of times now, I think lessons have been learned from the 2008 financial crisis. And once the treasuries and banks are able to move very, very quickly, central bankers don't need to look at the global picture. They can look more domestically, taking a leaf from what we saw with the ECB. And that's exactly what the B of E did yesterday.
Right. I guess most of the rates are in now, and it's definitely a hike we're seeing across the board. Maybe not as hawkish, but still a hike. But another issue now in the UK, we see millions of mobile phone and internet users are facing a possible price increase, about 17.3% on their bills. That's just in a week's time. What are you hearing about this?
Yeah, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Yeah, I think I'll be sticking to WhatsApp calls for the near future because it's really expensive to make phone calls. It's very expensive in the UK at the moment because we had so many deals with the EU that have been slashed and diced because of Brexit. And then we've got this mid-contract increase, which is quite controversial. Ofcom, which is the regulator for the comms community, they've actually launched a review because they don't think it's fair, particularly at a time when we're facing food prices at a 45-year high, as well as so many others surge in the cost of living in the UK. Nobody wants to pay more for their bills, but sadly they will, because every single April, telecom operators do raise bills in line with inflation, and they add a little bit more. Inflation, 10.4%. They're going to add more to that, which is why I think economists have priced in this like 17.5% figure. Not many people actually even know this even happens. They just see at the end of the month that their bill is very expensive. So civil society groups are asking people, check with your provider, see if you have an opportunity to make sure that your prices at least remain close to what they were a year ago. But yeah, this is just another issue that beleaguered Brits have to face with the cost of living, which I know is affecting everybody.
Tell me about the downside of inflation. Everyone trying to meet up with the rising prices. Thank you so much, Juliana. See you later. Juliana, they're giving us the details from the UK. Let's look at other markets. Now, let's see how Bitcoin is holding up today. TGIF, Friday, 61 points. That's the sentiment in the market right now. Still greed. Quite an interesting, turn of events from a few weeks back. There we're dealing with neutral and fear, but now it's into greed. We're seeing now. Look at the market cap. We see it's holding up 1.18 trillion, up 2.17%. But we see volume there traded 20.15 down. And Bitcoin dominance, eyes on Bitcoin dominance, still inching up there, 46.21%. We had previously was at 40 to 39% to 42%, but now it's been inching up gradually. Let's look at the price of Bitcoin this morning, $28,269, up 2.17%. Traders, all eyes on that 30,000 level. Is it going to hit? Is it going to stay? Volume traded $22.92 billion. Let's look at the price of Ethereum. You see that's also $1,800. All eyes on the $2,000 mark, and we see volume traded $10.86 billion. Let's look at the top alts by market cap. We see it's mostly green, with XRP continuing on that run, 2.12%. 43 cents is what we're seeing for XRP. And for the top 7 gainers this week, let's look at the top 7 gainers. See, most of those coins have performed well, and in the week we see that counter for the top 7 gainers. Thank you, Mass there, 49.86%. That's the gain from Monday till now. We see Dash also holding up there, 18.53%. Let's look at the top 7-day loser. We see Arbitrum there, $1.42, down 88%. They just start trading about yesterday or today. Let's bring in Success Chibike now to bring us up to speed. Hello, Success. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, let's talk about Arbitrum here. It's one of those layer 2 tokens for Ethereum. They did get the airdrop claim. A lot of people got that claim, that eligible users, that is. But we see it did list on a lot of exchanges, but it's down 88.05% this morning. Tell us about this.
Okay, Arbitrum is a layer 2 Ethereum scaling solution. So yesterday they listed on exchanges, and it was airdropped to its early users. So just like every other cryptocurrency, when they hit the exchanges, they get a massive sell-off. So I think that is behind the drop in price. So these people getting these tokens for free. They just want to make quick money and sell off. And about 12% of the total supply was given to early users that interacted with the ecosystem for free. So I think that's behind the massive sell-off drop in price. And I think the price will continue to drop for a few days because just very few people have been able to claim their reward. So that's behind the price drop in the token.
And definitely it was recently listed, at about $11 or $10. And, we've seen that massive drop to about $1. But, with new listings like these airdrops, how do you find the bottom, that sweet spot entry price?
Okay, I can't say for sure, but I think looking at the charts technically, when an asset is listed on, and maybe after a few days or weeks, the price continues to consolidate. So I think at that point of consolidation, maybe no volatility for a long time, you can look to enter or buy the markets. I think that's usually the bottom for such early listings.
And talking about, airdrops, there seem to be a lot of airdrops, these days in the crypto world. How do you find these airdrops, and what do you have to do to actually get them? Because, talking about Arbitrum now, I'm wondering, you said the users got the tokens for free. Like, how much portion or how much of the tokens do they normally get, for free?
Okay, it depends on the projects and how much the project is willing to give. Like this Arbitrum, 12% of the total supply was given to early users. So to get an airdrop, maybe when a project is still under development or under testness, you have to issue some tax for them, maybe talk about them publicly, refer people to them, and interact with the ecosystem like Launchpad and every other thing. Just do transactions on their ecosystem. So it's usually based on a credit score, depending on maybe how much you transacted on the ecosystem, depends on how much you are going to get as airdrop for free. And there's a lot of places to look out for airdrop, mostly on Twitter and maybe CoinMarketCap. You can look out for new tokens or new projects that are coming up, and there you find ways to interact with them.
And I'm guessing that's why we're seeing this much price selling pressure on the token there. Most of these people got it for free, so I guess they're rushing to sell off to make gains. Anyway, thank you so much, Success Chibike, CEO of BuySaucy app. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, so there you have it. That's how the market's looking today, Friday. Not so bad. Still watching out for what comes next week. Everyone looking for if Bitcoin is going to break that 30,000 level. We'll definitely be tracking that right here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to join us at 1:30 on Business Incorporated for more updates and developments in the world of business. And you can watch this again on our YouTube channel. Just flip over to YouTube, search for Channels Television, click on our videos. You can watch all our production. Thank you for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Enjoy the weekend.